welcome to Media Lite, where we still treat each piece of media like great literature. And we are here tonight with a very, very special edition of our Media Lite. We are going to break some new ground. We are going to approach this in a slightly different way than we ever have before. But some things never change. And I am happy to say Kris Ingersoll, my beloved co-host, is with me here tonight. Kris, how are you doing on this Media Lite recording night?
Come on, buddy. You know there's nowhere I'd rather be. How could I miss this? I'm doing so good. Really thrilled. We haven't done a Media Lite in a while, and I'm excited this is a property that we just had to talk about. And I'll let you say who the guest is, but this is like a favorite buddy. You know how you share something with somebody, and even if you don't see each other a lot, that feels like a special friend when you've shared something really special.
Absolutely.
This person is that person. So thrilled that they're back. Thrilled to talk about the topic tonight.
Yeah, I could not possibly agree with you more. Listen, we are here tonight to talk about the first ever Glitch Productions 2D animated feature. It's a pilot they released back in September called Knights of Guinevere, and it comes to you from the mind of Dana Terrace, the mastermind behind a Media Lit favorite, The Owl House. Those of you who have been with us for a long time will know we did a 4-part series on the Owl House for thepopbreak.com in July 2024. But it wasn't just Kris and I. We brought in our good buddy and also the TV editor for thepopbreak.com. It is Avani Goswami, and she is back. We are reunited, and it feels so good. Avani, how you doing tonight?
I'm doing great. What an honor. Thanks so much for that introduction. I love all things animated, Dana Terrace, so I had to join you guys for this one. I'm so excited to be here and ready to get into it.
Well, you were the first person we thought of. You know that's true. To your point, Dana Terrace is our girl, and we couldn't celebrate her new work without you.
Oh my God, I'm so excited.
Yeah, absolutely. We've talked about this a few times. Life kept getting in the way, but when Dana Terrace came back with a brand new show, how could we not do it? If you're watching us in a video format right now, you may see behind Kris Ingersoll, there's a little figurine, a little pop figurine. Kris, who is that guy?
I gotta say words, I think, for the camera to feature me the way the Zoom does it. You might recognize the king of demons himself. It's King. He's on my T-shirt. He's hanging out in the background. I couldn't not celebrate the property that brought us all together, Owl House, as we talk about this next one that I hope we'll share with equal reverence.
Yeah, when those Owl House pops dropped, I had to send Kris along a King figurine. I grabbed myself an Ida and Avani. You're going to have to hook me up with a mailing address later so I can get a lose sent your way
Oh
to
my
complete the
God,
trio.
yes.
So forever bond
Halloween
us.
costume idea.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
And there are so many looks for Luz that you could go with, and every one a winner.
Oh, totally. I love her little cat hood.
Yeah.
Cat hood is
That's
iconic.
yes.
Especially for one of those cold Halloweens, right? You need that little extra hoodie.
Oh, definitely. Like this one, I feel like it's gonna be a little brutal. So I'm gonna bring out my little cat hood, channel my Luz.
I hope you have a chance to pull the hood on and say, it's all come full circle. That's my hope.
Meow.
Yes, a very threatening meow has got to follow it up.
Yeah.
Where Luz is trying to convince herself. As much as I wish we were here to talk about the Owl House, right? This is a Media Lite, so I've got to keep things moving. But hopefully, this will be the beginning of many more collaborations with our buddy. Perhaps for more Knights of Guinevere, perhaps for some other properties in the future. But tonight, yes, we are here to celebrate Knights of Guinevere. Right now, this is a 1-episode pilot. If you haven't checked it out, it is available absolutely for free on YouTube. I think you're going to find that the three of us consider it to be a pretty impressive work of art, and we hope that we can convince you to come on this journey with us. That being said, here's a little just quick Media Lite version of a synopsis of what we've got here. In the pilot episode of Knights of Guinevere, 2 fringe hackers attempting to survive a dystopian hellscape befriend an AI consciousness and set off on a quest together. Guys, I tried to do this in one sentence, but I think I left out one or two really essential details. Can you guys, one or both of you, just hop in and yes and me a little bit?
Well, for me, I think you got the most important bits, right?
Yeah.
Like, we're concerned with Guinevere and those who we hope will become her knights. But you can't really sell this show without attempting to somehow talk about the park planet of it all. The not so veiled shot at Disney that is this show, right? This show is centered around a massive corporate conglomerate that has not just taken over the world, it has taken over many worlds. It has terraformed planets with its corporate greed. So, yeah, we've got to talk about the show's concern with a very Disney-like park experience.
I would like
Yeah.
to raise my Disney travel mug to you for calling out the Disney of it all. Avani, what were you going to add?
I was just gonna say, well, yes, totally agree with you, Kris. And I think the world building is such an important piece of it. And I know we'll probably chat about that a little bit later, but I think just in like the description, there's so many different aspects of the world and like how the stories tie together is really interesting, even in the pilot episode. So, yeah, I really love that piece of it as well.
Yeah, absolutely. It feels like more than just a coincidence that Dana is going from a property she was developing within the Disney infrastructure to this completely independent affair with Glitch Productions, with what seems to be close to total artistic and creative freedom. And the fact that, yeah, we've got an evil theme park here feels like more than a coincidence, right? When Dana left Disney, she did so, I would say, quite gracefully. She certainly was not trying to burn bridges. I saw her offer folks a lot of benefit of the doubt when it came to the ending of the Owl House. But at the same time, I think she also acknowledged that there was just lack of a willingness to believe in this show, believe in like the breadth of the target audience and who it could reach. And I can't help but read a little of that frustration in here, which brings me to my first question of this media light. I'm going to go to you first, Avani. How do you feel about seeing Dana Terrace's mind and creativity at work, uh, not only in an independent structure, but I should add, in a rated M for mature sort of environment, right? We've got a whole new rule set for the storytelling here compared to the Owl House.
I think it's awesome.
Mhm.
Like seeing all of the elements that we loved so much about the Owl House translated into something that is, rated M, a little bit more mature in the content, and then also the characterizations, even in just one episode are so developed. I think it's really cool to see her do something like that and have like full reign over it because there's so many aspects of it that are so true to her personality and like character and like you can see pieces of the Owl House in it, like even with Andy and Frankie, like I felt like their characters and the ways they interact, like their little quips are so like genuinely what I loved so much about the Owl House.
Yeah.
But at the same time, it's like taken up a notch. And so I loved it. It's like you see those little things in Owl House where it's like dark elements or like little moments where it's like someone's guts are everywhere. And then it's like, but now it's like really amped up in Knights of Guinevere.
Mhm.
So pretty cool.
Love
Yeah.
that. I was gonna say, I love that call out to the sometimes gross out animation style that came with Owl House. That is so much more present here.
Yeah, we've
Yeah, like a
really
screaming monster or something, and then it's just like in Knights of Guinevere, it's totally out there.
Yeah, or like eyelid guy who, keep your eyes peeled, and he actually peels his eyes open. I'll never forget that in the Owl House. But here we've got like actual guts in the hands of the robot.
Oh, yeah.
And yeah, it's different.
Yeah, you can tell, like, they had things they wanted to do on the Owl House with that abomination goop that they were not ever quite
Yeah.
allowed to do. So this is a goopy affair for a show that is, on one level about robots and AI. But yeah, it's visceral. You feel it. It's bloody. It's goopy. It's gooey. Um,
Mhm.
but also adult in its themes. Kris, how are you feeling getting this Dana Terrace product filtered through this new lens?
I mean, I think this is wonderful. We hope that more platforms like this can come about for creators, right? I love the idea that somebody like Dana Terrace is not beholden to the whims of the big corporation that carries the big purse, right? May more and more independent production houses like Glitch pop up and provide places for creators to go and really express themselves. And so, yeah, I'm thrilled. I'm disappointed that because this doesn't have a big machine behind it, we're not going to get some sort of like regular release schedule or any kind of like clear dates we can rely upon as we head towards this project. We're all just sort of like doing our best to crowdfund and hope against hope, spread the gospel of Knights of Guinevere and hope that we get more of it, right? So that's like the only thing about the setup that is a bummer to me, that the great evil of Netflix, say, would come with real stability for the production and the idea that hopefully we wouldn't disappear anytime soon. But as far as the mature vibes are concerned, I think what I like most about this is that I already trust Dana Terrace to be an honest creator who won't just be slinging around the mature stuff for the sake of celebrating the fact that they can, right? Like, we're in that swimming pool, so we're going to make a mess of it. I think that it's going to be, as we already saw in this pilot, thoughtfully deployed, a way that enriches the world that we're living in, that makes these characters feel much more tactile and relatable, but not in a way that's sort of gratuitous, right? And unnecessary. So I can't wait to see the ways in which she will leverage that mature rating in intentional and story-driven ways.
Yeah, absolutely. Every relationship that I saw here is once again grounded in love. If it's the characters that we care about, they love each other, they care for each other. And even some of these other more intimidating looking relationships, these potentially more insidious relationships, even those seem to have some dark sort of version of love. And that's such a common theme in these Dana Terrace shows that, like loving someone in the wrong way can be dangerous. But yeah, as for me, I'm really, really loving this like just ugly underbelly beneath the Disney gleam is just like really, really working for me. The first time we get a shot of Park Planet, our very first ride that we see has some little ride vehicles that are unmistakably Mickey's. Like, I'm sorry, they are not so subtly designed to look like Mickey's. There's no way they didn't clock that. And I think they want us to clock it as well.
Oh, totally. Guinevere's hair in and of itself, like her silhouette is literally him.
Yes. Yeah, Randy, early on when you pitched this project to us, you mentioned that there were some like not so subtle shots across the bow of Disney. And then I came back, I think what I said was like, this is a broadside barrage to the battleship of Disney. Yeah. This is no subtle attack. This is like, we're going to sink your battleship. Quite obvious what they're looking to do, I think.
Yeah, even like all those different Guinevere variations, they don't even have different names. It's just Mermaid Gwen, Princess Gwen, Space Gwen, and so on and so forth. Right? The Disney princesses, I love them, but they are a merchandising vehicle at the end of the day. It's a moniker that they want to package these characters under. And sometimes that's worthwhile and fun, and there are characters I love. And I can show up to real life Park Planet and enjoy my mug. But yeah, there's some other things going on too.
It's almost like it's almost like they blended Barbie and the Disney princesses, right? With Guinevere.
Yeah, absolutely. All right. Just two other things I wanted to shout out before we move on to the next section. And that is number one, I should shout out that yes, Dana Terrace is here. But she also brought along John Bailey Owen and Zach Marcus, who were also deeply involved in the Owl House. So it's a bit of a family reunion. So I just wanted to shout out those other central members of the creative team here. And also, since I first watched this, K-pop demon hunters have continued to take over the pop culture landscape.
Oh, yeah.
And I hadn't put it together until I was researching for this podcast. But I realized that the voice of Orville Park himself is also the voice of Abby, the Saja boy from K-pop Demon Hunters.
Whoa.
We need a crossover, basically.
I don't think Mr. Park is rocking the same washboard underneath his suit and vest.
Not necessarily. Not necessarily.
Maybe we'll find out.
Yeah. Really awesome. Great poll. I'm glad that you were able to ID that name. That's wonderful.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So I was just going to say, we talked a little bit about how it feels to check out Dana Terrace in a new format, but we are clearly itching just to talk about the story itself. It's so rich beyond the obvious shots at Disney. So Kris, I want to turn to you first this time. And I'm just curious, for you, what is the most compelling storyline in this pilot episode for you thus far? And or do you have any theories about what might come to us in the future?
There's so much, like, right? Like, how do I zero in on one thing that I'm curious about? Because there is, as Avani says, so much world building packed into this one, like, 35-minute pilot episode. I'm going to leave some big stuff on the table, I think, and I want to zero in on some of the relationships that I observed. I'm really curious to learn more about Sparky and how he relates to these two girls. Are Andy and Frankie sisters? I think. I can't quite tell if they're lifelong best friends or sisters. I can't tell if he's their father or a father figure, right? But they're clearly found family of some kind, and it's clearly dysfunctional. I think Sparky has removed some of Frankie's teeth as a disciplinary measure. That's what I think was implied there. I don't know. There's everything interesting about him. He seems like this bad guy who owns his badness, right? He isn't a deceitful guy. And so I'm really curious what threads they'll pull on there. Like, you don't introduce like the criminal underbelly and the idea that he's selling drugs unless you plan on pulling on those threads as a storyteller, right? So I'm really curious how the larger conflict with the Guineveres in the park and the restoration of this android by these two knights, how this other thing is going to interact and intertwine with that. So I'm really, really curious about, they're not going to deliver this android back to Sparky, I'm willing to bet, right? That's the deal. They're going to fix her up and they're going to bring him back to Sparky. That's not going to happen. So I'm really curious what kind of conflict that brings about and how the complicated nature of their relationship, it makes those interesting.
Yeah, I found that really interesting too, Kris, like their relationship with Sparky. And from what I can tell, I feel like Frankie and him have like sort of that father-daughter, but he's clearly like also abusive in some way, shape, or form. And so I think that they definitely had that push and pull. I was also curious to see how like Andy plays into that, because like from what my read was that maybe like Andy and Frankie were like childhood like friends, and then like eventually might have like some sort of like romantic storyline. But that is also just completely pulled out of thin air. So we'll see what happens.
Yeah, we do like to ship, right? I'm curious why he calls Frankie Frank and Franklin, right? Where we know her legal name according to Guinevere is Francesca. So I'm just so curious about the complicated nature of that relationship.
Yeah, the layers of names here are fascinating, right? Like even Andy, we've got Andrea, Andy, D at one point, like just the D, all the variations on Frankie. To contrast that with Guinevere, Guinevere, over and over again, no matter how many iterations we get, feels intentional.
Interesting.
That's a great point.
Avani, how about for you? Do you have a particular story thread you're particularly captivated by, and or do you have any theorizing to go along with that?
Yes, I do. I'm so glad you asked, because this is what I've been thinking about a lot. So, I feel like the blue, like Gwen is blue, and we see throughout the episode that many characters have like a substance that's blue. For example, Sparky's like smoking a pipe with like blue liquid in it. We see the person who spits on Andy's shoe, their spit is blue, and there's parts of their skin that are turning blue. And actually, in one shot, there's a headline on a newspaper or magazine that says the babies are being born blue. And
babies are being born blue.
Yeah. I wonder, I think what it is there's a substance that comes from these animatronics, or working with these animatronics and working below the park, that kind of makes people sick. Like, for example, even Olivia, the kid that we see in the beginning, has like pipes or tubes of blue liquid going into her body, and she's bedridden. We see her older self bedridden, and so I feel like that's definitely going to be a major plot point as we continue. And kind of hand in hand with that is the question of, is Guinevere a robot, or is she partially a human?
Mm-hmm.
So that's interesting.
I agree. I wonder very much to what level these androids are organics, right? The Sun Knight, his one mutant arm looks awfully organic to me, right? Sun Knight seems to react to pain. He recoils, right, when his arm is harmed, and it's all writhing and twisting, and there's something more to these.
Yeah. And then when Gwen like kills him in the episode, there's like blood splattered everywhere. Which is interesting.
And red blood, unlike the blue blood that we see theoretically from Guinevere, right? And it's interesting to me that in that opening narration, we're told that she was trapped by machines that run on blood and fear. And so I wonder if these some earlier iterations, these scarier Sun Knights with the red blood.
Yeah, see, this is why I love you both so much, because now you've got me over here thinking, if this series goes long enough, do we get sort of like the intersection of fantasy and sci-fi? Could there be a layer of magic mixed in with our technology? Certainly an idea that was there in the Owl House when you look at all that abomination work. So yeah, I love this. There is more to be told. There's always another layer below. There's always another sub layer here. Yeah, and I think that is fascinating. For me, it's going to be Olivia Park. This is the character I am the most fascinated by. She's terrifying in that opening sequence. She has that very detached, like creepy kid in a horror movie sort of vibe going. Shivers roll up your spine when she says she's going to fix Gwen again. But there's some sort of duality in that opening sequence that I can't quite shake, right? There's a princess locked in a tower. In your first view, they want you to think they're talking about Olivia, but then we get the camera flip to Gwen's perspective, and it's like, oh, it's about Gwen. And I got that, but I also can't help but wonder if Olivia is also trapped. Clearly, she is not well in many senses of the word, but especially that elderly version of herself has a much more earnest sounding voice. I'm not ready to go so far as to say I trust her with Gwen, or that Gwen should ever be trapped with her in a room again to be fixed. But she at least seems to think that her love and need to fix this Gwen is genuine. And they find the harshest, darkest way possible to establish this like mother-daughter vibe with them. I mean, within the first few moments, Olivia is dragging Gwen by this blue umbilical cord. You really can't describe it any other way before the dive off the balcony. So what is love in this world? When is it good? When is it bad? Who needs to be rescued? Who doesn't? It's phenomenal.
I think that's so interesting, dude. Really, really interesting. I mean, I love that you highlighted the mother-daughter nature, because I was wondering to what extent Guinevere was meant to be a stand-in for Olivia's mother, right? Like later we see in the bedroom, the mother scratched out of the family portrait.
Yes.
There's Orville and there's Olivia, and the mother's been scratched out. I wonder, right, if was what Guinevere was sort of meant to be early on. Super fascinated by this girl. I also wonder why her voice is so deadpan and disengaged early, but then she's much more childlike and animated when we see her as an older woman in bed, right? It's a totally different tone of voice. Also, her hair is black in that family photo.
I know. I was going to mention that. I wonder why that is. I wonder if that ties back to like the blue blood at all, or the sickness, because she works on Guinevere like throughout her life, and you like see her surrounded by that.
I
so
wonder.
That's interesting.
I wonder.
Yeah.
I mean, it's also, there was something about, this is maybe me going to galaxy brain here, because I don't know that there will be any real timey-wiminess in this show.
Sure.
I think you're right, Randy, to speculate this is going to be more sci-fi than fantasy, right? I think there'll be more science than magic in it. There's something about the way when Orville's like, isn't this better? Like you can tell he's trying to appeal to Olivia in the beginning after showing her the park. Sort of, this is a way to forget the past. Whatever happened in the past, whatever was before, this is now better. This is the thing I'm giving you. And she says, thank you for this present.
Mm-hmm.
And the dual meaning of the word present in that moment really struck me. The idea of like, he's giving her this gift, but he's also giving her this present time. Thank you for this present,
Yes.
as opposed to maybe a different potential present. I don't know, but there was black hair. There's now blonde hair. Even when she was a little girl before a lifetime of maybe exposure, her hair's already kind of blonde, and there's like that blue dot on the dad's forehead already.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's really interesting because they do show like so many different variations of the Gwens too. And I wonder like at what times those occur. And also Frankie and Andy. And then at the end we see them again as children. And so I don't know if that's gonna be like a timeline story or if that's just more of an animation storytelling point. But that's that's a really interesting point.
They did want to emphasize how many years had passed since the beginning of this story.
Well, like I think a sign that this is a compelling story is they're doing some sci-fi, they're doing some fantasy, but I don't feel like I know which story I'm inside of. Like it could still go so many different directions. We're questioning if the androids could be more human than we think. Could some of these humans be more android than we think? There's certainly some reason to question Frankie as she is seeing these visions, and at times we know that the Guinevere droid is seeing a processed sort of projection of reality laid over what's happening. But at one point, it's unclear if maybe Frankie can also tap into that or not. Are the people on the outside ever being sucked into what Gwen is seeing? And heck, with all these questions you were just asking, you've got me thinking for the first time now, could this be like a Matrix situation?
Yeah.
You know, a simulation within a simulation, a dream within a dream. The fact that that's all on the table and it all sounds like it could potentially be satisfying to me is so exciting.
Yeah, totally agree.
Yeah.
Man, this is exciting. This just being back in the theory pool is wonderful. But it wouldn't be a Dana Terrace property if it wasn't also full of just beautiful human stuff. There's the sci-fi and there's the fantasy, but there's just such deeply human, relatable stuff, right? So I'm hoping we can celebrate some moments of humor and or heart. It doesn't have to be both, but I'd love to hear from both of you what your favorite moments of either were. Randy, I'll go to you first here, man. What was your favorite moment of humor or heart?
Yeah, I'm going to give you both.
Yeah,
we all sound excited. I have a feeling we're all going to go to both. I've got so many here. Instead of overthinking it, I'm just going to try to go a little bit more chronological with it. So I'm going to start with my moment of heart. And this is Andy just trying to bargain with her former friend who is absolutely pissed that she has become a crownie. She is working for the park. She's got this plushy engineer's job. Everyone is some combination of jealous of her and angry with her for having risen to this position of power. Seems to be a little bit of both for everyone. And as Andy is trying to convince Reggie, it's so clear that she is also trying to convince herself. She seems to hate herself for doing this job. Not to dip us all the way back into the theory pool again, but when she says she got fired, that might be true, but I can't help but think she's decided to quit instead. I don't know if we ever got the truth from her.
She threw that pink hippo head in the garbage. I wonder if she was quitting. Yeah.
But in her pleading and her trying to explain like there's no other choice, it sounds so much like the way we talk about AI now. People trying to push back and people saying it's here to stay. You got to learn to live with it. You hear all these different arguments from people trying to find their own way to live with the state of affairs. But what she says that really makes it a moment of heart for me. She says, like we're all suffering here. but we're spending all of our time picking each other apart.
Mhm.
And I really loved that line. It instantly endeared me to Andy. And then when she got to sell some of her silliness a little bit later on, it really worked for me. So I'm sure I'll smuggle in some more Andy thoughts later. But for my moment of humor, I'm just going to go with one of the earliest ones. And that is simply Frankie is having a beer or some other type of bottled beverage, and she pops the cap off of the beer with her eye socket.
Yeah,
Now,
I love that.
read
Total
into that
badass.
what you will. Is this some sort of, mechanical reinforced enhancement to build into our robot theories, or is she just that much of a badass? I don't think I've seen that maneuver depicted in the past. I've seen other creative ways for people to open bottles of beer. I don't know if I've seen the eye socket, but she rules and it's hilarious.
Yeah. That eye swells up later after a little beating, the little tussle with
Mm.
Sparky. She's a little worse for the wear. So I'm thinking it's just some badassery as opposed to any cyborg eye. I love that. Great pick. Avani, what about you? Do you have any moments of humor and or heart you'd like to celebrate?
Definitely. Well, those are some really good picks, Randy. I felt like I'll start with Heart. I felt like one that I liked for Heart was just how even though Frankie and Andy are planning to take apart Gwen, they just like defend her and Frankie is like, "No, we have to go back for Gwen." And like they protect her and then in turn she like protects them, and, like, I just found that to be, like, so heartwarming, like, I'm just really interested in, like, the dynamic between all of them, and I feel like that was such a great way to set that up. And it's also very telling of their personalities and their character, so that was a one moment of heart for me, especially when Gwen, like, you can see her, like, through the when the door shuts and she's, like, smiling at them,
Yeah.
and it's, like, eerie, but, like, I just, like, love her at the same time.
Yeah.
Like the
Um
half shaved head, sort of
Yeah.
like
Yeah. Yeah, and, like, everything's, like, blowing up behind her, yeah. And then as far as humor, I would say Frankie has some really good moments. I think the one of the ones that made me laugh was when her, like, imaginary, like, friends, like, the stuffed animals, like, come to life,
Yeah.
and they're, like, basically, like, telling her to, like, take down the man, and, like, it's
Yeah.
just, like, so good. Like, I love that. I love that she just, like, has these, like, voices in her head and, like, they're, like, so cute and funny, and it's so, like, the Owl House to me, but, like,
Yes.
I love that
Yeah.
moment.
All monarchs are usurpers and the
Yeah.
descendants of usurpers.
Yeah. Yeah. So that imaginary being in particular was giving me the blue star from is it blue star or a water droplet from Mario
Yeah, yeah.
in prison. It's like super soft and light and happy, but saying the most just horrifying, depressing.
Yeah,
thing.
like, "We're all gonna die." Yeah.
Yeah. That's
That's
definitely that was good.
exactly it. That's exactly
Mhm.
it. I was trying to put my finger on it. That's exactly what I was thinking.
Yeah, those should be really fun to revisit as the show continues. These hallucinations from Frankie, if that's what's happening. To Randy's point, maybe it's an interface moment. Cool.
Yeah.
For me, I think I'll go hot first and then humor. I think I really loved when Frankie is talking about why she wants to be an engineer
Yeah.
so badly, right? And we find out in this moment that Frankie is like basically a Disney adult,
Mhm.
right? And I think
Kinda, yeah.
what's getting to the heart of is the idea that like I'm sure there are people who are so anti-Disney and anti the big corporate greed and like they cancel it. They never had a Disney Plus, so they'll cancel it at the drop of a hat when there's a good cause to do so. And then there are those people who won't ever let go of the magic, who aren't unaware of the horror, who aren't unaware of any of the problematic things that come with a corporation like Disney and their control over content. But there's so much magic, and that magic has meant so much to them in their lives. And when Frankie describes that moment they had as kids, that night they broke into the park to use the
Mhm.
claw machine, and they met a real Gwen, that memory is so visceral for her. It's still so vivid, she says. And she just thinks it's so dang cool that Andy gets to
Mhm.
create things that create those moments for other people now. And there's something so beautiful in that. And it reveals so much about Frankie and the way she sees the world that, like, this is obviously horrifying. And Andy is obviously horrified by it. And maybe one day Andy would too, but I don't think this comes from a place of privilege or naivete, right? She lives a hard life.
Yeah.
She has 2 awful jobs. This is not a person who is unexposed to the horrors, but she's so moved by the magic, and she's still hopeful that she can share that with other people, and that can still mean something. I think that's awesome.
Yeah, that's a great point. And I feel like that like innocence theme kind of runs throughout the whole show in different ways, like even with Olivia, like and seeing her like when she as her older self, like she's like kind of like throwing a bit of a fit, like kind of like how a kid might, and like her whole room too. I think like that could also play a role with her character. So I'm kind of interested in that.
Totally.
Yeah, and it does feel to me, I can't get the theory brain to shut off now that it's on, unfortunately. Um, Everyone seems to be aware of how skilled Frankie is.
Mm.
And I have questions about why she's been held back. She goes to her mindless, let me stamp these decals onto these mugs job, but she instantly gets pulled away to like fix the mechanism within a machine. When Andy is working on her late night project through the night, a week's worth of tests in one night, I feel like she's looking at Frankie not in a cruel way, but with a little bit of jealousy. She has all these adorable little functional gadgets around her. In the flashback, I'm pretty sure Andy was the one with the little frog hacking device. Uh, but
Oh
then we
yeah.
see Frankie in the future having upgraded the heck out of this thing.
Mhm.
To be incredibly powerful. I'm sure we haven't seen the last of that little guy.
Twerking frog hacking vending.
But yeah, so to have all those story beats also building a mystery, that's great storytelling.
Yeah, totally. And then for my moment of humor, I guess this was also almost a moment of heart, but then it gets beautifully subverted. This is after her tough day at work. We see Andy run into a guy just kind of comes up behind her on the street and decides to whisper cruelty in her ear because she's a crownie, right? And Andy jumps right into her usual defensive diatribe. She had all these answers ready to go. To your point, Randy, they're probably more for her than for any opponent in her debates. And this guy starts to cough with I'm going to call it the blue lung. It was giving me Zoolander.
I think I've got the blue lung pop.
I got the blue lung pop. This guy starts to cough, and Andy is immediately like moved. She wants to keep yelling at this guy, but she's like, he's so sick. And she's like, I'm sorry. And
yeah,
like, she says, and so I started to melt. I'm like, oh, what a beautiful, empathetic moment. She's like, I hope you feel better. But also, fuck you. She like pops back into frame real quick to like point down. She points down at this guy.
Yes.
Whom she just had this tender feeling for. And I think she still holds that. But also, fuck you. Really got me good.
Yeah, it's rough
So
and
good.
at in that underworld.
It is, man.
I mean, to your point earlier, though, Kris, like to not use the mature setting at random, Andy knows how to deploy the F-bomb so well.
Yeah.
Like earlier in the episode, it almost made my humorous moment. But like when Andy finally goes back to work and Frankie's just like, yeah, go Andy, go kick some ass. And then just as she's walking away, you hear Andy give like a fuck you. It's not angry, just
Yeah.
my night sucked. I'm not looking forward to this.
Yeah.
I'm a little annoyed that you're jealous of me and you can't seem to see how miserable this experience has been.
Right.
But I still love you. Well, the good news is the show has us so incredibly excited for what the future might hold. The bad news is we don't really have a lot of details about the future of this show just yet. As far as I can tell from discussions online, it seems like this performed quite well relative to other new launches from Glitch. I think I'm getting the sense that this was a pretty big deal for them. They were certainly a company that hadn't quite hit my radar. I don't think I was in their target demographic up to this point. I slipped into it with this project. But one of the ways Glitch is looking to get the money and the resources to keep this project moving and growing is through a merch store. Even if you do not have the funds available to buy some Glitch merch to support this show, the time and effort and love that's gone into advertising all this stuff is incredible. You've got fun descriptions of every single item. You've got fun packaging that's like within the world. You know, this is property of Park Planet. Stuff like that is all over the content that we're seeing on the merchandise page. And even some of the ads they've put out are hilarious. They've got the voice actors voicing the plushies, getting sucked through these different dimensions into different commercials. Just like this irreverent inside joke. They're aware of the layer of irony that they are supporting this sort of like anti-Disney merch show in the form of merch. But this does not seem to be decal stamped on crap. We've got some real quality stuff here. It's a game Glitch has been playing for a while. So naturally, I want to know which piece of merch you are each most likely to purchase to support this show. Avani, when you log into that website and check out that merch store, what do you want to walk away with?
Well, I have actually debated this before because
Nice.
after I saw the episode, I was like, "Oh, there's 15% off on the merch."
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if that promotion's still going on, but I think that they still have all of those items in the shop. And so I've looked at it many times. I have been debating buying either the Frankie or the Andy plushies because they're so cute and
Mm-hmm.
they're like two of my favorite characters. I mean, they're like so at the heart of the show. But I thought the Gwen plushie was cute too. But I think it's kind of funny how in the show they're selling the Gwen plushie like they're
Yeah.
mass producing her, and then like she's just like there in the shop. But it's kind of fun. So I was definitely thinking one of the plushies. There's so much other great stuff too that I was debating, like potentially one of the standees of the characters. But I think the plushie will be my first purchase. And I saw the ad too, Randy, of them doing a little each sold separately bit.
Yeah.
So that was really fun. It
Yeah, that's
kind of
like
soaked me.
that's like the spell that they intone to get out of each reality.
Yeah.
Just that little commercial phrasing. Each
It's
sold
really
separately.
good. And the plushies are doing it. It was really fun and still like poking fun at it. So yes, I'm all for the plushies.
Beautiful. Kris, how about for you? Which piece of merch are you most likely to invest in?
It was a tough choice. I really wanted Frankie's hat at first because they've got an exact replica of Frankie's awesome unicorn hat, Unicorn 5. I can't quite tell what's happening there with the emblem. I don't wear a baseball cap all that often. I'm like a scally cap guy. Different hats, not baseball hats, really. So I decided that much more in my wheelhouse. The hoodie. The Knights of Guinevere hoodie really caught my eye for a few reasons. First of all, who doesn't love a comfy hoodie? So like when it comes to merch, I'm usually looking at the hoodie table anyways. But this hoodie is sort of like a juxtaposition in the same way that the show is. Like the same way that Park Planet is beautiful up on the surface and down below it's horrifying and it's this dystopian hellscape. The front of the hoodie is magical looking and delightful. And it looks like it could be from Owl House. Maybe it's referencing Collector, right? There's like kind of half moons on the pocket and a star, and it's got like, it looks magical. And on the back, you've just got this twisted graphic of a horrifying Guinevere doll in disrepair. And those distorted letters, "Are you lost?" The description for this sweatshirt says, "When you're cold, lonely, and in the dark, is it a comfort or a threat to hear someone call out, 'Are you lost?'" So I love that apparently they were thinking the same thing I was thinking. This hoodie is sort of a juxtaposition. It's an exercise in contrast, and it wants us to be unsure.
Yeah.
How we should feel about this. And the graphic on the back is just gnarly, so.
Yeah.
It's really cool, yeah. I love it.
Yeah, there's so much great merch here. Like you've got the Space Trio plushie keychains are a little cute.
I considered that. I really considered that one
illuminations.
too.
There's this great Gwen figurine where she's got like the full princess gown, yet that blue umbilical cord is spilling out just a little bit to evoke the nastiness of the show. But I've got to be a little bit basic here. I've got to go with the poster. I love a great framed poster, and the animation on this show is just so detailed and loving. All that juxtaposition of color and shapes and where we flash back between perceptions of reality. It's so beautiful. And this poster is featuring the shattered glass in the background. You've got Andy and Frankie, both in these very cool, confident hero poses. Andy's got her little, like, Morpheus-esque glasses. She's doing like a little tilt with the little round glasses that are close up to her face. Frankie's got some new device that she's holding up that she's probably built, and she is ready to like go to battle or repair something, whatever this knight needs to do. That's the implication at the end of the pilot, is they are the knights. So can't wait to find out what being a Knight of Guinevere entails. But yeah, I love that poster. It's beautiful. And I don't see any indication that they've sold out. You can still get the version of the poster with not hand signed, but printed signatures from Dana Terrace and the other creators on that poster, which is still pretty sick. So I think that's my item.
Great choice. You can't go wrong with a poster, man.
Yeah, and the art is so amazing that I already just want to hang that up thinking about it. You're gonna get me on the poster bus, Randy.
Yeah.
Well, listen, we've got to fund this show. So nobody hold back. Make sure everybody gets a Knights of Guinevere plushie for the holiday season. Posters, plushies, hoodies. We all need a little bit of everything.
Absolutely.
This was a great chat. I really enjoyed jumping into the show a little bit. I certainly hope for a day where there's more content to discuss. We can get this same gang back together and do more of it. But in the meantime, to the podlings at home, that will do it for this Media Lite episode. We did our best to keep it bite-sized. I don't know if we succeeded. It was a big bite. We hope that you are satiated and delighted. If you enjoyed what you heard here tonight and you want to find more of it, please follow the pod. Comment on YouTube, like, subscribe, share the pod, and search us up. You can find us anywhere podcasts are being streamed. Search Media Lit or Media Lit Podcast, and you'll find us in places like YouTube, Instagram, Blue Sky, Facebook. We're everywhere, and we would love to hear from our podlings. So please don't hesitate to reach out.
Beautiful. Kris, thank you so much for plugging the show. I really appreciate that. Avani, I also have to thank you for joining us. Like, I still haven't quite wiped the smile off my face from the fact that we get to podcast with you again tonight.
I know.
I just can't wait to do it again in the very near future. And there's no shortage of animated content out there that we love. I'm sure we will find our next project. But when people aren't finding you here, Avani, where do you want them to go looking for your work? And if you'd like to be found online, where would you like people to find you?
Yeah, definitely. Well, first, thank you both so much for having me back. It's such an honor and also so much fun to be back with you both. I had so much fun chatting about this. I can't wait to do it again. Fingers crossed. But you can find me on Instagram at AvaniG. So that's A.VANIG. And you can also find me on the Pop Break, where I'm the TV editor. I write a lot of reviews as well, along with edit all the TV content. Right now, I'm finishing up my run of Only Murders in the Building. So the finale is actually this week. So yeah, perfect for Halloween. Definitely recommend checking that out. So yeah, that's where you can find me.
Yeah, that's absolutely perfect. In our recent Edgar Allan Poe Cask of Amontillado episode, Avani, we pitched film adaptations of the story. But they had to be based on other pairings. So I was going with the Murders Only in the Building crew for my vision of that story being retold for a new generation. So you'll have to check
that
out.
Is so fun. I would love that. I would love if that ever becomes a reality, you can invite me back on the pod for sure.
Oh, absolutely. And Avani, should I be getting my like end of year best shows content ready to go?
Oh, definitely. We always do a wrap up of the
Nice.
best shows of the year. And so I'm going to be putting that together in December. So look out for all of the great pop break writers' favorite shows of the year. Who knows? Maybe Knights of Guinevere will make the list.
Yeah, I would love that. Kris Ingersoll, you are such a joy to podcast with. You do such a great job selling our pod. But what else do you have going on, and where can folks find you?
You're so dang kind. Thank you, sir. Besides Media Lit, I'm also the co-host of the Batman by the Numbers podcast on thepopbreak.com. We're in our world's finest era. Normally, we spend the year talking about Batman in any possible way we can, but this year we spent a ton of our time talking about Superman. We just dropped a live-action villains ranking, so please go check that out. And you can find me and my co-host Dan Cohen once a month on thepopbreak.com. Aside from those things, I'm also an actor and a voice actor. I'm a father and a husband. You can find me on Instagram or Blue Sky doing those things at Kris_Ingersoll. And that's Kris spelled like Kringle.
Beautiful. And I'm your host, Randy Elaine. You can also find me over on the Pop Break. In fact, Avani often gets stuck reading it when I decide to go deep on a show in writing. Yep, I do it in words. I do it in writing. I can never quite shut up about television. So look for my writing over there. And also look for my music podcasting. We just wrapped up a year of Pod of Doom, a Black Sabbath appreciation podcast, where I learned so much new Black Sabbath music. It was bittersweet because we saw the passing of Ozzy Osbourne as we approached the end of that run. But I had such a blast. And I am also excited for our next project. Coming to you before the end of the year will be the first episode of Podele, which is a deep dive into the music of Beck Hansen. If you are a Beck fan, you know the podcast has to be called Podele. If you still have to learn, you'll get there. But if you want to pronounce it Podele so that you better understand the wordplay, you're more than welcome to pronounce it that way. Cannot wait to share my favorite artist with all of you and bring one Kris Ingersoll along for the ride this time. So that will be incredibly exciting. We want to thank you again for joining us for this Media Light, and we'll catch you again soon.